welcome on in, everybody. It's another day. Thank you for your patience. We're live now. We're here to hang out and chit chat. And of course, we have to start it out with the jingle. Nathan, you are in charge of counting us down now because I don't know if you heard, it was like spot on the last time we did it. So
what's it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I typically listen to our episodes every week, like because I want to know how did I sound, how can I sound better, what can I do better. But I apparently skipped over the jingle.
Can't believe you skipped over the jingle. Can't believe it. Can't believe it.
So I was thinking that today before I got on, I was like, oh my god, did I not listen to the jingle and find out if it was on or not? But I digress. We're gonna go 3, 2, 1.
Common language in the morning. I think it was again perfect. I cannot tell you. It is just because I'm hearing it from my end, from you. I'm seeing it here on OBS. I'm looking at the whole thing, and I'm like, I think we're just nailing it now. So
perfect.
Let us know. Obviously, if we're out of pitch and not harmonizing, that's another thing we can work on. But
yeah, right now we're just trying to be in sync.
Right now we just want the words to come out of our mouths at the same time, preferably like milliseconds apart from each other, if need be.
Sorry.
But yeah, so welcome on in. It's another episode of the Common Language Podcast. It's episode 34. So it's pretty awesome. I think this is now oh my god, I still can't believe we're this late in January already.
I know.
Our third podcast of 2026. So pretty crazy, but we've been jamming stuff. We've been going through life, and we're coming up to Compendium of Wraith release, which is pretty cool. Very quickly, like very, very quickly. It's I feel like I'm just going to wake up one morning and it's going to go, oh, it's like Christmas. Here's all the rares and commons. And I'm going to go, oh, God, I have so much work to do. So it is definitely crazy, but I'm very thankful to be doing this here. I'm happy that you all are here. If you're watching us live, you know the drill. You are a channel member of Ash Wings TCG, and I really do appreciate that. So if you wanted to ever join us live, we do have a live chat that you can chat in, things like that. It's not so much like a call-in thing, but it's I'm always reading the chat. So if people wanted to talk and have some questions about our topic today or anything of the sort, feel free to obviously go ahead and let me know there. And then for all of you who are watching the VOD, just the regular episode that we release every Wednesday, do know that in the description of every one of our videos is a link to my Discord. And in our Discord, per Nathan's suggestion, I actually posted a section for viewer questions. So if anybody did have any kind of questions about maybe just like a day-to-day thing, or, what's your favorite way to eat a cookie, like whatever you need to be, we do have that available to you. So if you wanted to do that, that's always a fun thing. And we'll always take any of your questions because we just like chatting to everybody. So that's the fun part there. But yeah,
I'm going to interrupt you really, really fast because just so that you know, it is under, for the listener questions, it's under community questions for podcast.
Yeah.
I know when I look for stuff, I just look for listener questions. So that threw me off a little bit, but.
Gotcha. I can change it if it's going to be easier. I guess let me tell you, Discord moderating and setting up, not a forte that I've delved into very well.
Yeah.
So it's something that
I agree.
I thought, I definitely have enough to kind of get myself started, but there is so much to Discord that I'm just like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to learn it to the best of my ability. But if I could pay somebody $5 to upgrade my entire Discord,
right,
I would do that instead because it's just like a lot. But anyway, so that will be available. It's under community questions for a podcast. I'll probably just change it to listener questions and put it under specifically a podcast channel. So that way people know kind of where to look at as far as, that way it's not in the flesh and blood discussion. It's more so in the podcast listener stuff. I can if I don't forget to make a topic for this video 15 minutes before we go live, I could probably prepare people by putting in a thing being like, here's our topic for this Tuesday. Do you have any listener questions for that? So that would be a thing to do. But I will obviously work on that because content creation, yay, awesome stuff. So
I know there's so much that goes into content creation behind the scenes that I feel like people don't think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until you start doing it, and then you're like, oh wait, I need to do this.
Yep.
Oh wait, I need to update this. Oh wait.
I tell you, if that my hardest thing for me right now, honestly, is I want to upload a video to YouTube, schedule an upload to YouTube, and the second that upload happens on the date and time that I've suggested, it also makes a post on Twitter, BlueSky, all of the Discord channels that I needed to, and Fabrary, all at the same time. If I could do that for every one of my uploads automatically, I would love to. But I
think there is something that does, maybe not the Fabrary.
Maybe not Fabrary, but
you have to pay for them. All those things you have to pay for.
Yeah. Like it's a lot of additional stuff. And I might end up doing it just because like it is going to be so much more beneficial, because essentially what I have to do is now I upload a video, I then take the link to the video, go to BlueSky, create a post, and then copy the post it on BlueSky, post it on Twitter, post it on the Discords, and then I just share the video link on Fabrary where I can. But sometimes I just I've been coming out with a video like nearly every day now, so it's been a lot. Just being like, okay, did I remember to do this? Am I going to do this? Is this even worth it to do it right now? Do I want to, overload all this other stuff? So that's something for future me to figure out. But
I know. I do the same thing. So like when I post videos for, the cutouts and stuff.
Right.
I do TikTok, I do Instagram, I do YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it takes me just as long to post all of that as it does to edit them. And granted, I'm doing a 10-second edit from usually a 10-minute video.
Uh-huh.
So it is not an easy edit because I want to get it the specific. Anyway, but also with that comes the, when I'm posting shorts like that, a lot of times it's music, and then I gotta go, oh, what's popular on this platform?
The music is crazy. Like I haven't set up any music on I have my lo-fi that I've gotten, my DMCA free lo-fi that I put on stuff every now and again, but most of the time I've just avoided music entirely because it's hard to do. But when it comes to shorts, you need to have that music because that's your engagement. You have to determine what song is popular at that time and what's uploaded and so on and so forth. So it's very very trendy thing. Love being trendy. Love being in your olden days, sitting here as an adult and trying to figure out what's trendy with the kids. So always a fun thing. But yeah, outside of that though, we've got we're going to talk about our weeks at Fab. I'll kind of start us off here. I didn't do too much in Flesh and Blood. I went to my armory yesterday. I skipped armory last week, but I went to my armory yesterday. I did not go to my casual night this week either, because we're doing RTN season. And so RTNs is kind of rough. We do have a lot of people that like to hang out for a little casual thing, but most of the people who go there are also people who are going to RTNs. So they tend to be kind of burnt out by the time an RTN is over, and that begins, the casual night begins. So we did not have that fire last week. But cool thing is that yesterday at an armory, I sat down, a bunch of people just kind of hung out, talking to our locals as we normally do. And an individual comes over who I've never seen before. And he proceeds to say, hey, you guys here to play Flesh and Blood? And I was like, oh, yeah, we are. And I was just like, oh, cool. Okay. A new player, or maybe they've been playing for a while and they don't know. And
or they're passing through or
exactly.
Whatever.
Right. And so he comes over and starts talking to us about how initially he wanted to start playing Flesh and Blood back when Dromai came out. He's a really big Magic the Gathering grinder. He plays a ton of very competitive Magic, and he's been wanting to give Flesh and Blood a shot. But life got in the way when Uprising came out, so we didn't build Dromai. He didn't get priced into the game or anything, so he didn't pursue it. But now he recently watched The Calling in Columbus, that happened.
Mhm. That
And
was literally this weekend.
yeah, that was this weekend. And
Don't spoil it. I'm still watching it.
oh, don't worry, I'm not spoiling, but like effectively just the fact that it was a it was something that he had watched and he said, "Wow, I do really think that competitive Flesh and Blood is super sick. I want to try getting into it again." And so he was
I'm
just
guessing you guys told them all about Silver Age and
yeah, well, for sure, but also it was like he definitely brought it up that because he plays like a lot of Legacy and Modern, so he's
Mhm.
not opposed to spending money, which is
Yeah.
also fine. But I let him know. We talked about the meta, we talked about all the living legend systems, and he's pretty knowledgeable in the game from when he first learned it. He said that his first actual game he played, a buddy of his lent him a Kano deck back when Kano was
Mhm.
legal, and he piloted the Kano deck just at the first time ever piloting the Kano deck. He ended up winning, and he was just like, "Okay, cool. I kind of think I get the idea behind this." And I'm like, "Okay, so
Yeah,
you're
if you can
already
pilot a
like."
Kano deck,
If you can
you're
pilot
good.
Kano, you're pretty okay for the rest of this. So it was very good. We just had a talk. He's like, I like Storm and Magic. And I'm like, well, you might want to play Acilio, but like, I don't know how long that's going to be here. Like, Acilio is kind of cool. There's also a couple other like combo potential things. And so I was like, honestly, just do some research, find something that works with your playstyle that you
Yep.
enjoy. If you find it and that's a hero that's going to be legal for at least the next like 6 months, go ahead and like get yourself in. Like a lot of us have cards, just a good introduction. And
Well,
he
and
yeah.
if you like an older hero too, like Dromai, once again, you get Sage. Like if Dromai was the thing that's like, okay, well, it's not legal anymore, but she's still really fun and tank.
Uh-huh.
She's still really good.
Yeah.
You can have fun with old hero. I know this. We're always talk about Sage, but to me, that's what makes Sage
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. Is the fact that you have these old heroes that you can't play anymore that probably some people, I told you about our Pokemon professor, loves Enigma,
Yeah.
loved drafting Enigma, played the crap out of it when he could. Can't play it because it literally LL'd right,
Yep.
right when he started playing
And
it.
that's the
So
thing with this
here we
individual. It's
go.
not so much that they wanted to play Dromai. I mean, initially they were just kind of drawn to the aesthetic of Dromai. But I did let him know, obviously, that Silver Age is a thing that's coming, more budget friendly stuff. I told him about our casual nights that every Saturday we do. So that's always open for and available. And I think it's just going to be a great way. We were, it was funny. Like every one of us were like, do you want a deck to play tonight? Do you want a deck to play tonight? Because like so many of us bring like 2 to 3
Yeah,
CC
you
decks
bring
with
like
us.
2 to 3.
Like, and so we were just like, do you have anything, a preference? Like, do you want to try something? Like, I might be on this hero tonight if you want to try this instead. And he's just like, oh no, I don't feel good about touching other people's cards because he's got oil on his hands. And so he's just like, I don't want to deal with all that, but thank you. And we started talking about armory decks, the whole
Mhm.
nine. And so he seems really interested, which is really cool. So I'm sure another prospect that we'll be seeing locally, maybe not there because I think he said it was like a 40-minute drive or something for him to get to the store. And I was like, yeah, don't do all that. There's closer stores to where that guy lives. But it was a cool thing. I went 2-1 on Arachne Huntsman, which was cool. Still trying to figure out what I like as far as playstyle goes for him or them, sorry. But it is I don't know. It's a very very mid-range almost fatigue deck, but I think I want to
Mhm.
try going full fatigue because I feel like
Yeah,
going
I
mid-range is
think you
just
have
kind
to
of
with him.
not enough. Like it's not able to beat fatigue decks if I go mid-range anyway because my ceiling's not that high.
Yeah.
So I think I just have to lean into full fatigue and just kind of really send it. So we'll have to do some more testing on that on the channel here.
Yeah, no, I do think Huntsman wants to be full fatigue. Like I said, I feel like Huntsman he's like right there. Like Hunter or Hunted, if they come out with another card that can push that hero up similar to that one, I think he'll be right there.
Yeah,
If they come out with
absolutely.
2 more cards, he's right
Yeah.
there. I do want to see them do more experimentation with contracts though, like kind of what they did with in the Hunted, right? The Hunted, they came out with a couple contract cards in there. They were very specific about that. I love the fact that they were stealth contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those two. And they said that that's us just kind of experimenting with it, and I think they need more experimenting like that. And if you look at Assassin in general, every Assassin set, the card pool is very different.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sure, it's all stealth, but you get one that's stealth with, the bloodpox and all of that in it. Then the next one is stealth, but it's you start doing pseudo contract, right? Milling their top card, gaining
Hmm.
health. And then the next one is stealth, but it's marking
Right. And
with
it's
it.
like
So
dagger focused, and like,
yeah,
stealth, a stealth dagger you can create, things like that. It's very,
yeah.
they
So
definitely put a far more focus on stealth recently than
yes.
contract,
Well,
right? So
yeah, because contract was definitely their experiment. I think
mhm.
contract's really, really cool mechanic.
I do
I
too.
think it's a super cool way that they did that. Stealth just makes more sense to have that as one. Like after Huntsman goes, I don't know that they make another contract. If Huntsman goes, whenever he goes, I feel like eventually he's probably going to go.
Maybe
But
at some point we'll have the
at some
very,
point. But
very
I just,
kind decency to have them LL into the sunset. And God, do I hope I have points on this son of a bitch before I do it.
I know. But like, I look at that and I think that I don't know that they'll ever make another contract specific um assassin. One of the things
Right.
I actually really, really like about the assassin class in general is how each assassin has interacted with stealth so differently.
Hmm.
And I would love to like you could just tell that this hero was developed later
Yeah.
because of that. Like just like they're in the groove of hero design and all of that, and so you can just tell that that the assassin class was designed later after they're in the groove. Like let's just face it, like after Dynasty was really they started hitting their groove in it. They started changing the way that they were developing. You look at 2.0 and they talked about hey how they're changing kind of the way that they build heroes, but Dromai, for instance, still was Dromai, Icelander, and even Fi are still more of like the old focus way. Like if you look at the old focus way, they're all about like doing very specific things, getting go again somehow, all of that. All of the newer heroes are more about that every single one has like a mini quest that they're doing.
Yeah.
Every single hero. And I think that's fantastic. Like I personally love that design space. Because even ones that are a little bit more straightforward, like I would say New Kasai, she's a little bit more straightforward. She's still doing a mini quest.
Yeah.
Like she's still getting gold in order
Hmm.
to make her swords. Like she's still trying to get her swords free, all of that. And so like everyone sort of has kind of their mini quest that they're doing in order to get there. Whether that mini quest is specifically in the text of the character or if it's in the way that they interact with their weapon.
Right.
I'm thinking specifically like you look at Dash IO, it's a hey, you can play the top card, right? But
Right.
then her weapon is you can play the item, your top card item, and then her weapon is you get that, and so you're playing the items in order to get your weapon up in order to then go 2 or 3 shots with your weapon. That's still a mini quest that you're going on.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
maybe it's not like as inherent on the actual hero text as some of them are.
Hmm.
Like you look at Gravy Bones. He still sort of has a mini quest, but really his mini quest, he has to have his offhand in order to do that. Because, right, like if his offhand is what gives him the blue goes into discard, then he can play it out with go again.
Right.
His guys out with go again. So, like his offhand equipment gives him that mini quest, but he's still doing a mini quest of I need to get a blue in there so I can get this out so that I can
Exactly.
attack with it. Like there's still a mini quest going on. Whereas a lot of the older heroes, they don't have that. Like
Yeah.
you look at Bravo, it's dominate. You just dominate your weapon.
Yep.
Or your not your weapon. You just dominate your attack.
Hmm.
Well, if you look at any of the current Guardians, they're doing a mini quest, right? Like Betsy, she can dominate her wagers.
Right. She has to
You look at
wager a
the
card in order to overpower it, really. So
Yeah, yeah, and then you look at like the new Bravo, the new young Bravo for Sage. Like he's got to get the crush into his arsenal in
yeah.
order to then flip it to go in. So like you're still doing mini quests to get there. Even things like like KO, Armed and Dangerous, right?
Mhm.
You look at him, and his whole thing is you just discard, you get a might. Okay, cool. But ultimately, what you're doing with him is you're trying to get those discard agilities so that you can then go more wide. Like you're still doing he like helps to build that, but you're still doing kind of a mini quest in order to get that go wide stuff, but that innate ability helps to push that game plan forward. So
Right.
like even those like straightforward ones, it's still more mini quest esque than all of the other heroes. Like look at Lexi, she's not super mini quest. Like oh, I arsenal card to flip it up, and I get to do one of those things.
Mhm.
And Lexi, when she was in there, her Voltaire just gave you go again. There wasn't any mini quest in there to
Yeah.
go
You just
about it.
got it
Whereas
all.
even like you just got it all. Briar, it's like, oh, you have to get 2 non-attacks and then you get that so you can get go again. That's not mini quest enough.
Right.
You look at Aurora, her mini quest was, hey, I need to have a lightning, and then I also have to have a blue or something in there in order to get my lightning thing. So like even her mini quest was still a little more straightforward, but it was still a mini quest going on there. I had to have a lightning in order to even use her ability, and then I also had to have the resources to do it. So, anyways, Dromai, like Dromai is the classic. Like there wasn't enough of a mini quest in it. It was, hey, you played a red, you get to give all your dragons go again. And
Yeah.
sure, you had to have the sure you had to have your Ash supply in order to get that. But if you're a good enough player, you can sort of balance that out. And even then, like if you look at her in CC, right? Like she had her chest plate in order to kind of do that. Whereas I feel like in Sage, I feel like she's even more of like she kind of has a pseudo mini quest because it was a little bit harder
Yeah.
to get that ash than like in CC. It was I'm just gonna pitch my red to then get my get my resource back.
It's like, oh, I had a leftover card. Okay, cool. Get me an Ash. Like that's just it. I'll get
Yeah,
free Ash for the
and
rest of this game. And
like
yeah, Ash economy was not hard to do in Classic Constructed. And so with it being Sage, I mean, even Sage, we see the same thing where, like at least we know that you can start off your turn by getting 3 Ash and then drawing a card with Glory Seeker,
yeah,
right? And that is like
that's
the way we've
huge.
kind of set it up. And at that point forward, it's like you have a bunch of 1-cost attacks, you have a bunch of 1-cost
Mhm.
dragons, and that's going to kind of how you're going to keep that ash from depleting quickly. But obviously, in a 20 health format, you could play like if as long as you know that you're not going to get blown out, you could probably play 2 to 3 0-cost dragons, lose
Yeah,
all of your ash, and still be able to continuously threaten for the rest of the turn. The only thing that is ever bad is if you do that, you don't kill them, you draw into 4 dragons, you have no ash, and you go, oh, I can't play
yeah.
my turn on my turn or their turn. Like I can't do anything. And so there are turns in which that happens, and that's the kind of brick that you have to take when you do
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right?
And so like that's why I'm just like you look at the old design
Yeah.
and that. But so like I'm not even sure what even started that conversation other than I love the way that they've been designing
Yeah.
heroes
Yeah.
recently.
It's something that, well, at least especially for Huntsman, their game plan is really like it's just pretty straightforward. Like obviously send in a breakpoint
Yeah.
hits. Breakpoint gets card off top of deck. Cool. But the cool thing about Huntsman is more so their ability to like remove threats from early in the game. Right?
Yes.
Like if
Well, yes.
like you get to take a look at the top card of their deck and go, do I want you to possibly draw into this with any of the cards that you have on your in your hand, right? Not really.
And you have to
No.
make kind of the assumption that you're not going to hit sometimes. Like,
Exactly.
hey, I can get if I hit this, I'll get rid of your Blood Rush Bellow. But if you fully block it, you'll get that. So
You
do I
exactly.
want
You'll
to take
get
that
the
risk?
Blood Rush Bellow. So if you just
I'll just drop it.
sink it to the bottom, and it's really really cool. I think it's a cool mechanic. And I mean it's just like deck manipulation and things like that. I think I've really enjoyed, and so that's why I want to continue trying to like push Huntsman. But let me tell you, if we get another contract stealth card that's actually like kind of good in pen, I'm so back. I
Well,
mean it's crazy good.
I think in Penn, what I honestly would love to see, and well, we'll see how it goes, is at least for Penn, anyways, because like Arachne, Huntsman, well, just Arachne and Sage,
Mm,
there's zero reason to play, because the games are so quick, and so I would love to see maybe some more either A, some of the equipment go down so they can use it in pen, or
Uh-huh.
B, just some more equipment in there, because making the making the silver more worthwhile for them in Sage would be awesome. And I think that would translate. I do think that would translate to CC,
Oh, for
depending on
sure.
what
Any
it
card
is.
that can make silver more like there's, I mean, obviously it's a majestic, but like I was even thinking of putting like payday in my huntsman deck just because it's
Hmm.
like, did you complete a contract? You get 4 silver, and it's like that's kind of cool. The only downside is it doesn't have go again, and it
Yeah.
and so like you have to give your contract card that already normally does not have go again, go again. So
Yes.
there's a lot of hoops to jump through to make that happen. But I do think that the important part is that a hero like Arachne Huntsman, along with several heroes that are in that like kind of lower meta bracket, I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of people are told. For the record, this is not the topic of the video that we're actually trying to do here,
No, it's not. I know. It's like
but it
we need to
is
get to the
for,
topic.
for the viewers, right? I just wanted to let you know this is not the discussion, but something that is really cool is that people who are really passionate about these heroes will absolutely try everything into them and just
Yes.
make sure that everything is functioning. They'll find out what works, what doesn't. They'll make spreadsheets, the whole thing. But most people will tell other players, "Hey, this deck bad. Don't even bother looking at it because it's not a good deck." And that actually hurts the community more than it helps, because sure, you could go play Gravy Bones if you really wanted to, if you wanted to play like the meta. But if you preferred this hero's playstyle and maybe you see something that somebody else has not seen, I mean, I think it's really funny. I'm not going to say that I'm provider of this. I believe that during the PQ season, when Huntsman was first actually a threat,
Hmm.
not the Zartian season, but last PQ season, I was the first Huntsman to put Gravekeeping in my Huntsman deck because I specifically was like, this card is going to be pretty good. I think it's card's going to beat Gravy and beat any of these other heroes that have it beat
I love
Syndra.
gravekeeping.
Gravekeeping is so sick. And I posted it online and in the Arachne or the Assassin Discord, and people are like, Gravekeeping, that doesn't sound like it's going to actually do you a whole lot. It's probably not a good card, actually. And now it's in like half of the Huntsman decks because people are like, oh, it's actually kind of a good card. Like, you never really know how
Yeah.
important the graveyard is for most people. Like if Earth heroes are going to be bringing stuff back from the grave with Everbloom Life, get that thing out of there. If you're going to be playing against a Jarl and they're going to try put their Oakenolds back in their deck, get that thing out of there. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. And so I think it's
Yeah, and I
a
do
fun
know,
thing.
people are looking at that being like, oh, you're gonna just kind of push up their decompose, like especially Earth heroes, and it's kind of like, well, sometimes it doesn't really matter. Like Jarl doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Let's be real. And with it does, but doesn't. Like he plays a couple decompose depending on what build he is. But even the Earth heroes, like once they're online, just start getting that stuff out of there because
Right. They'll bring
they
it
will
back. Like, it's
recur
still a
it.
threat. Like at the end of the day, if I'm playing Gravekeeping and I get their one copy left of Felling of the Crown from their graveyard to their banish zone and they go online, okay, their hero text is online. You know what I get to do now? I get to play Codex of Frailty without needing to worry about them bringing back a
Hmm.
Felling of the Crown and then
Yeah,
blocking it out very comfortably and then sending a Felling of the Crown. Like, I don't have to worry about that. And so that's where my mind is with Gravekeeping. It's gotten to the point where I almost want to play 3 of them in the side, but I don't think that's right. But again, that's more testing for far later.
for
Again,
another
there's
day.
so much about this deck that can change as far as disruption and sending in some stuff, but it's really about depending on what you want to do. Are you going to try to do a full fatigue thing? You probably want to put more 4 blocks in your deck. Are you trying to do a mid-range kind of game plan? Maybe put some more low to the ground attack reactions to try and get your damage up so that way you can beat a fatigue deck through damage, like this whole thing. But mid-range does not beat fatigue. I think fatigue into fatigue, you have a better shot. Fatigue into aggro is a little rough, but sometimes it works out. So anyway, that's my week in Fab. What about you? Anything fun you did?
No, my parents are in town, so I didn't do anything
There you
fun
go.
or anything. Like literally nothing. I just did,
just family stuff. So there
just
you go.
family stuff.
Cool. Well, then let's go ahead and move right into the topic here that I wanted to kind of discuss. And I brought this up to Nathan just like 15 minutes before we started here, pretty much, because I was sitting there in bed and I'm just like, what the hell do we talk about today? What could we possibly talk about? And I'm just like, you know what? I had a pretty quote unquote controversial video that came out in regards to the reprints that have been occurring in Compendium of Wraith. There's been a lot of noise, mainly on Twitter, which is where all the noise is, because everybody likes to complain on Twitter apparently, about people's collections being, shot to the ground, and how can I continue to put my money into collecting Flesh and Blood if they're going to reprint everything, and this whole thing, yada yada. And I made a video. Video actually did pretty well, gotta say. More.
When did you make this video?
This was on the 12th, so 8 days ago.
Okay.
It got.
I must have missed it.
Yeah, I got 38 likes and 1 dislike. Only 1 dislike. So obviously people are enjoying it. But the important thing here is that I had made a big specification on reprints, talking about what reprints really do for the game and what they are not going to affect in the long term. And one of those things is talking about the cold foil reprint policy, how they're not going to reprint things that have been printed in cold foil in a main set, in a future set, at all. Even if it's got different art, it's not going to be printed in cold foil. And how if it's been printed in rainbow foil, it can be printed in rainbow foil at any other set, so long as it has new art. They can do the same thing for non-foils and things like that too. So nothing is ever safe besides original cold foil printings of cards. And so that is kind of the overall concept there in regards to what we're trying to do. It looks like I may have lost Nathan's.
No, I'll be right back.
Sure. So
I'm just gonna go mute and camera off.
Yeah, you're good. So effectively, the talking point there was that there's a lot of talk about the reprints of people's collections going down in value because they're reprinting these large fableds. If you didn't know, we saw a lot of fableds over the course, or not fableds, we saw a lot of reprints over the course of the weekend. These past couple of weekends, we now know what the 7 legendaries and 3 fableds are going to be in the antiquity pack that you can get when you purchase a box of Compendium of Wraith. When you purchase a box of Compendium of Wraith, one of those packs in there is going to be an antiquity pack. That antiquity pack is going to be effectively it's going to have, what the hell is the breakdown for this thing? It said there's 3 cards in the pack. You're going to have a regular slot, which is a non-foil antiquity rare card. The antiquity slot, which is a non-foil antiquity majestic, a cold foil antiquity majestic, or a non-foil antiquity fable. And then the 3rd slot in there is a puzzle slot. It's a rainbow foil puzzle piece or a rainbow foil antiquity legendary. So you can only get the legendaries in that last part of the pack. If you don't get a puzzle slot, you'll get a legendary instead. And then for the antiquity slot, it looks like you're going to either get a non-foil majestic, a cold foil majestic, or a non-foil fabled. So none of the fableds that have been reprinted are in any sort of rainbow foil or in any sort of cold foil. They're all non-foil cards, which is really good because a lot of people have to get, especially with Heart of Findall and Eye of Ophidia, which are 2 of the 3 gems that they're reprinting in here, the 3rd one being Riches of Trobeldani. Heart of Findall and Eye of Ophidia needed a non-foil reprint for a long time because they quite literally have to be exchanged for cracked baubles in most cases when you are playing in a tournament. And the reason being is because you have these cards that have curled because they're only available in rainbow foil. Most people can only afford the rainbow foil versions of those cards. And I say afford very loosely because they're like $300 to $400. But they're more affordable than the cold foil versions of them. So you take a look at that, and it is, they needed to be reprinted in non-foil. And we've been asking for non-foil Fableds for a really long time. We've now got them. And those are available at least in that same antiquity slot. But you also have the 7 cards that are legendary, which is Balance of Justice, Crown of Providence, Final Spring Tunic, Stonewall Gauntlet, Quick Dodge Flexors, Command and Conquer, and Shelter from the Storm. Those 7 cards are the other legendaries that you can find in that Rainbow Foil legendary slot in the back of the pack, right? But what was important here is that a lot of individuals were speaking kind of on the topic of like, you know, collectors and, you know, their prices going down for this, and they're not really getting the best value they can because they bought into Flesh and Blood back in WTR and Arcane Rising, and now there's newer versions of the cards with new art, which a lot of people are probably going to gravitate to because they might not like the new art over the old art. And so therefore they think that their entire life is crashing down because they purchased some Heart of Findall back in the day and kept it forever, right? But something I proceed to then mention, especially when it comes to things like Command and Conquer, right, is that Command and Conquer is a card that has been reprinted several times. And there are versions of the card that will probably never go down in value just because of how rare they are, and that it is the most like sought after printing of it because it's the highest level. So for instance, like the Command and Conquer from Dynasty. Command and Conquer from Dynasty is a little bit more harder to find, and it's like $750 some or something for that case, because I am absolutely just like out of my gourd. Like, I would never think I'd buy that card, but I am looking at even the new Command and Conquer, and even though it's a rainbow foil and it's a legendary in the new set, I like the art, and I like that it's a micro text box. So if I get it, I get it. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, I'm really more so about the fact that these cards are getting reprinted, but they're still not guaranteed in this antiquity pack. And that's kind of the thing that I wanted to chat a little bit more here, is that even though we see all of these really powerful reprints, you could still get like next to nothing in your antiquity pack. And I think that's really something that a lot of people are assuming is going to happen, that, you know, this reprint of the card is going to be so widely available that it's going to crash the market for the rainbow foil version of the card that initially existed. And that is just not going to be the case. We've seen it with High Seas. We're going to see it here with antiquity packs, in which, at least in this scenario, you're not going to get an antiquity common because there's no commons in this antiquity pack. There are 10 rares, 17 majestics, 7 legendaries, 3 fableds, and a marvel. So in that scenario, you very well could find nothing. Well, not nothing. You'll at least get a majestic, right? You'll get a rare card, you'll get a majestic card, and you can get a rainbow foil puzzle piece. If we're talking like the lowest, probably most common pull rate from a antiquity pack, you are probably going to get a non-foil antiquity rare, which is guaranteed in every pack, a non-foil antiquity majestic, and a rainbow foil puzzle piece. So 2 of the cards will be a legal thing for you to put into your deck. The other card is going to be a puzzle piece. Now, if you get super lucky and your antiquity packs contain a legendary at the back of every single one of those puzzle piece slots, then you at least know that you're going to get one of those 7 cards, right? You're either going to get Balance of Justice, Crown of Providence, Tunic, Gauntlet, Quick Dodge Flexors, Command and Conquer, or Shelter, right? Those majestics, Command and Conquer and Shelter, have been upshifted to legendary. So those are cards you're going to be finding in that specific slot. So it's very much so about it's very much so about the fact that you're not guaranteed these cards inside of your antiquity packs. And we also have not seen a huge drop in price since knowing that these reprints have existed, which is kind of insane, right? Because when you take a look at Heart of Findoll a year ago was going for $338 on market, and it's been dropping significantly since. There were a couple that sold for about $250-ish in like September, October of 2025, and it's still staying at its price, going down to about $220 per copy. $220 per copy for a Heart of Findoll is still a lot of money for one card. And we have not seen a huge drop in price to where that's the case. Sure, if you consider the fact that it's like $100 less than the market it was a year ago, then yeah. But I think the other thing here too is that with Heart of Findoll, you're not seeing this card sell a whole lot because not everybody needs a Heart of Findoll. You instead need. Also, welcome back, Nathan.
Yeah,
it is.
I was like, I heard pseudo of it.
Yeah,
apologies. So, I had my boss ping me out of the blue. And was like, I need you in this meeting right now.
And you're like, okay, all right, I'm getting there.
Fine. Like I'm technically blocked, but like, which means if he's messaging me, it's a big deal because my boss is actually really good at adhering to your calendar.
There you go. So then that's it. That's an emergency. No worries. I've just been yapping about the reprints and everything about how we're on the topic now of like how Heart of Findoll, while that's being reprinted in non-foil in the Antiquity pack, it's still holding a pretty good price. But the reason that it's also still going down, you're seeing a lot of these Fabled still go down in price, is because nobody wants to buy a $200 to $300 card for their deck if they don't need to. And if they do,
one sec, I'm going to drop really, really
you're
fast
good
again.
but even if they do, right? Even if they do need to purchase a card like that, usually you just need to buy one for the sake of like being able to put it inside different decks. You just need to purchase one. So if everybody who needed an Eye of Ophidia bought an Eye of Ophidia, then it would probably go up in price just due to demand. But eventually we'll see it reprinted because, again, if it's a card that LSS wants to see used in decks, it's going to get a reprint. But I think it's nice that they're all non-foil reprints, right? They're all non-foil reprints. There's no rainbow foil Fableds in the set. It is just non-foil Antiquity Fableds, and they're in different arts. So it provides a different way for you to have it. Again, it's non-foil, so you don't have to worry about having a curled Fabled in your deck, and which also, right, with them being non-foil, might make you want to go, okay, so I still want to have the chase of a rainbow foil and not a non-foil, right? You might like the art more, but if the art doesn't come in rainbow foil, then there's no reason for you to get it in the non-foil here. Now, just double checking for the sake of it here, because I do want to see some of these cards are also available inside the main set, which is a pretty interesting thing. So we do have Antiquity packs is for the Heart of Findoll. So you have Heart of Findoll in the Antiquity pack. You have Eye of Ophidia, which is only available in the Antiquity pack. And then Riches of Tropeldani, which is also only available in the Antiquity pack. But Balance of Justice, right, the legendary card, excuse me, is available in Compendium of Wraith. So you can still get a Antiquity version of the card in the base set for any of these legendary cards. So like Command and Conquer, you can find it in the actual set. Quick Dodge Flexors, you can find it in the actual set. So even if you're just opening loose packs of Compendium of Wraith, you have an option of possibly getting one of these cards. But the Fabled specifically are only going to be available in the Antiquity packs, which means that you have to buy a box in order for that to actually be, for you to have a chance of you opening up one of these Fableds. And it's still going to be hard to do, because it's still not guaranteed. It's in the Majestic slot. So you're either going to get a non-foil Majestic, which is probably more common, a cold foil Majestic, which is probably a lot less common, and then a non-foil Fabled, which I would assume is really rare to pull. So it kind of comes down to the fact that it's always going to be difficult for you to pull these cards because you have to you're talking specifically about the antiquity pack and not that, right? So
I do think I've heard bits and pieces of what you said, and
gotcha.
it's probably the exact same thing I felt. I think a lot of these players too, when they talk about um, they're talking about collectability and all of this stuff. Magic, because Magic is kind of what we all go back to,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of people do, especially collectors, like they've been collecting different stuff, right? You have that whole list that they will never reprint those, like the Power Nine
Yep.
and all of that. That doesn't exist here.
Right.
And it shouldn't exist here. In fact, Mark Rosewater, who's the designer, the lead designer of Magic, has talked about how he hates that and how he wants to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Magic just won't because they've been around for forever. And so he hates that and really wants to be able to reprint the Power 9 and do all that stuff. I
Right.
think that people kind of lose focus into, hey, there's always a better version coming out and all of that. But like at the end of the day, anybody who's collecting is going to want the original, right? You're going to want that cold foil Heart of Findel. That is the original Holy Grail
Yep.
from WTR. Nobody wants to play with that though. You don't want to be playing
Exactly.
with that card. And so when people start talking about the Antiquities packs and how I like to call them the Hearthstone border, because it
Yeah,
looks so
that's exactly
Hearthstone.
what it is. It's a very Hearthstone border.
So like when you're looking at the Antiquities pack, at the end of the day, I think Flesh and Blood is for the players. I know they really
Yep.
pushed it, at the beginning, they really had to push it as like, hey, this is for collectors too. And any new game kind of has to do that to try to survive.
Right.
Flesh and Blood is beyond the we're surviving. Like they are thriving and they
Yes.
are starting to push the envelope. Like we're coming up, what is this, 8 years? We're gonna get hit 10 years before we know it.
Yep.
And a 10-year game is a game that's not really going anywhere.
Exactly.
Like it's going to keep going. It's still growing. When I look at, we look at the big three and all of that stuff, you can make arguments for um Lorcana, you can make arguments for even Star Wars and all of that, but those really haven't stood the test of time yet. They haven't gone past 5 years yet.
Right.
That's when games start dying out. Do I think Lorcana might hit there? Probably. I don't know if they're going to hit 10 years though. Like, let's be real.
Right.
And so we're getting to that point where I think that at the end of the day, these aren't really going to affect it because right now, like if you look at it, like who's collecting?
Right.
Who's really collecting?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a collector that loves the game, you're going to collect for that.
Right.
What people who are complaining and doing all that, like I would say that they're investors. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, I don't really care about investors.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Like
it.
I hate to say that, but I don't care about investors. I care about the players. I care about the collectors.
Yeah.
And the collectors, if the collectors are, like the fact of the matter is if they have that cold full Heart of Findel, that happening, that them getting that card, those reprints and all of that shouldn't affect the actual collectors.
Exactly.
The real collectors.
Yeah.
That still is the Holy Grail. The original versions are still the Holy Grail. Sure, you get the Antiquities border and all of that, but like at the end of the day, you go like, oh well, that was came out in year 8. Like we get to look back maybe on the history of the game.
And I think it's
maybe
still
we'll be talking in several years and talk about that. Like the Antiquities is going to be, hey, I like that border and everything, but that original cold foil to a real collector is going to mean more than that Antiquities border. One. I don't even know if they're coming in cold foil. Like, do we have?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even
Which
coming
to
in
be
cold
fair,
foil. They're coming in non-foil and maybe rainbow foil.
That would be the only thing that would upset me about the reprints, right? And I don't even own a cold foil Heart of Findel. I don't own a cold foil Eye of Ophidia. I don't own any of those cards. But if they reprinted these cards in cold foil in the set, then I would have an issue because that would be breaking the cold foil reprint policy, which therefore means that it doesn't matter, right? Everything is up for grabs. Anything can be printed at any foiling.
Is it? It can be. Can't they reprint it in cold foil as long as it's a new art?
So they can reprint it in rainbow foil so long as it's a new art. Rainbow foil and non-foil so long as it's a new art. If it's cold foil and it was printed inside of a main set and printed in cold foil, then it is unable to be printed in cold foil
Mhm.
at all in the future. So, for example, right, something I brought up, I think, in a video a long while ago, I talked about Azuri, for instance, right? Azuri was not printed in cold foil when she came out in Outsiders, right? There were no cold foil Marvel heroes, right? She then got a promo card that was cold foil. It was just the cold foil adult hero, right? That was one of the things you got for going to winning your thing or whatever, or it was a calling prize or whatever.
So
The
they
hell.
can reprint that one because it's not
Correct,
a
because
main set.
that one is a promo, and so then when they reprinted it in Marvel in the gem pack, it's still a promo, and so it's not a part of the main set. So they can still
Yep.
reprint Azuri in Marvel somewhere in the future if they really wanted to, but
Yeah.
that is not what they're doing
does
with
that
these
mean that
things.
Briar can't get reprinted because she was in Rosetta?
Yes, correct. So Briar
Okay.
was reprinted in Rosetta as a Marvel, and so she will not. That is her Marvel version of herself is in there. So that will not get a cold foil in the future. And that's the thing that you want to kind of look for when you're doing things like more specifically, and again, more specifically, high end collecting. This was a comment that was also brought up on the more recent video that I did in regards to, talking about whether or not collecting in general is what people don't like to see, such as, if you like to collect rainbow foil commons or cold foil commons, common equipment, like you're fine to collect whatever you want. That's totally fine. And you're still a collector for that. But more specifically, when we're talking about people who care about the deep, true, I spent my money on this and I want that money to grow as the game continues to grow, that is an investment. That is an investor thing, not a collector thing. It's an investor thing. Sure, everybody who collects
100%.
can hope that in 20 years, as the game is continuing to flourish, that your copies of cards that you purchased at year 6 are now worth a lot more money. Sure, we all hope that's the case, but that's why you buy things now like Marvel heroes and Marvel and cold foil equipment and things like that, because those are affordable now in these forms, right? When we take a look at the reprint versions might have new art, and that new art might look better than the old art, but that's also subjective. I have people who
100%.
I have people who only buy, if they're going to buy a CNC, they're only going to buy the old art from Arcane Rising instead of any of the newer art, because that's the art that they feel is synonymous with Command and Conquer. And that will be the case for a lot of people. Some people will just be happy they have a Command and Conquer. They'll have a
never owned a Command and Conquer.
I've
never owned one.
Never owned one?
I've never owned one.
See, and that's what I mean. Like, you could literally, it's just
I've been playing since the end of year 1. I've never owned a Command and Conquer.
And that's exactly it, right? Like, you don't need to have, some people are just happy to have them, right? If you pull a Command and Conquer from Penn and then you proceed to open up like a pack of Hunted and then get that Command and Conquer as well, you're not going to be like, well, they got a match, like blah blah, like whatever. Like, you have 2 copies of Command and Conquer, play the cards. And that's what it's about, right? Like, if people want to make their deck aesthetically pleasing, that's on them, and that's what they want to do. They'll make that choice whenever they plan to do it. But the fact that a card is being reprinted in new art does not diminish the value of a card that was initially printed back in the day, just because it was reprinted, right? These fables are not going to be rainbow foil. They're only non-foil. So the fables are only non-foil. The legendaries are rainbow foil, but they're also not cold foil, right? So if you prefer a cold foil printing, the rarer version of the card, then you would need to go about doing that.
I think it's fantastic that they're finally giving these fables a non-foil version.
Yeah.
Right? Because how many times do people go into tournaments and they have to write it on a
cracked bauble
card? It's like now we finally have a real version that people can take to tournaments. In fact, I think a lot of competitive players will get the non-foil versions of them because they're probably tired, and then throw their special version into their binder, right? Like, at the end of the day, that to me is a collector, right? A collector cares about the fact that this is the original printing. They don't care about the special border and all of that. They want the original one. Even the original rainbow foil Heart of Findel, is still, I think, going to hold its value over a rainbow foil from an Antiquities pack.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it comes down to what is your preference.
Yep.
Well, a lot of old school players, I'll go for that rainbow foil, the OG rainbow foil, every time. Every time. Unless there's like a difference of $100.
Right.
If it's a difference of like $50 and I need a heart, I'm going to buy that one.
Right.
And quite
Buy the
frankly,
rainbow foil.
I don't think it's really going to affect it. And if you had the rainbow foil of the OG heart of Findel, you're not really a collector, so to speak, as like the high-end collectors, because you don't have the cold foil. Like, I hate to say that, but the rainbow foil was like for the players.
Yeah.
Whereas the cold foil is for the people, and it was for the collectors. And like, I don't want to be like, oh, well, you're priced out of collecting. No, if you're truly a collector, you love it for what it is, not for the price tag that's attached to it.
Exactly. And I think that, I mean, even that with the concept of initially, right, when Flesh and Blood first came out, you know, a lot of people might not know that there was a first edition printing of sets, and then there was a unlimited printing of sets.
Yes.
The first edition printing of sets was, thank you for continuing to support the game in the way that you do. If you purchase anything that's a first ed, it's essentially the same box, it's the same price as any of the other unlimited boxes back in the day, but there are special cold foil arts and things like that. Well, not even just cold foil, it's just cold foil. Like, cold foils were only available in first edition boxes back in 1.0. Not to mention the fact that there was also special arts. You could get Twinning Blade in an extended microtext box art.
I love that. I love like, the Twinning Blade.
They're so
reminds
cool.
Me of like a game card.
Yeah, it's like a poker card. Yeah, exactly. I think that was what it was a, hey, thanks for buying the first edition product. Like, the second it comes out on shelves, that is stuff that is like, okay, cool, you've supported the game, you've ended up pulling these cards, and now they're in your collection forever, and you've got the better rarity version of them, right? Yep. And now we're seeing it where everything is going to have a cold foil. You're always going to find a Marvel. You're going to find something in whatever box you get. But that's not to say that it's like, okay, we're still not, now we don't care about collectors anymore. Because obviously there's still very rare cards to pull in the set that are still chase. Like, I think if you bought a box of cards for $120 MSRP at your game store, and then proceeded to open up $200 worth of cards in that box, you're obviously, like, from a investor, like, you know, I'm only doing this to sell my cards standpoint, you're making money. But that's not like how we should look at this thing, right? We shouldn't look at how much money can I make off of Flesh and Blood, unless you're talking about like from a competitive sense, right? Then it's like you put in the time, effort, you're playing the game, you're getting into it, right?
Well, and if you're looking at how much money can I make off of Flesh and Blood, you gotta buy a high amount.
Yeah,
of
you have to buy cases, like plural. Like, I mean, you have to buy like
lots of cases. Like, if you're looking at this as like, I'm gonna buy a case and I'm gonna make my money back, you're probably not.
You're right, exactly.
And that's why, you know, at the end of the day, we always say go singles.
Yep.
You know, if you're a game store, like a lot of times my game store, depending on how much they get, because I want to get it to the players, but if they get a lot, like, they always go as much as they can buy, as much as they can afford.
Yep.
And they'll open them all up and they'll sell the singles. They make money. Like, they make money off of that. Like, they do. They just do. But it's because they're opening up like 10 to 20 cases in there. You know, like, that's what they said. Like, if we get enough pen, like, depending on how much we get, like, we'll probably open some. But number one, they're getting it from market price of, this is what it costs for them versus what it's going to cost for us.
Exactly.
Right? And so it's worth it to them because they open one card that's worth, you know, over $100 or $100. They're paying, you know, $60, $70, $80 a box, depending on, you know, what it is. It used to be 60. I know it's higher. They're upping the MSRP because the boxes are probably going up to more like 80. Because like, but like, at the end of the day, like, really, game stores don't make that much off of it. You're like talking about $20, $30, $40 tops. Like, that's really not that much for what they're selling it for.
And that's the thing. I don't know. Like, I just think it's always more beneficial for people to purchase singles at the end of the day, right? Like, you should not be purchasing boxes and being like, okay, if I buy this box, I'll get my money back, right? Because obviously that's gambling, and you don't want to gamble. But what is the the cool thing, at least, is that there's that incentive to buy a box because you get the Antiquity Pack. But as I was talking about earlier, that you may have missed, is that these Antiquity Packs are not going to be a guaranteed Fabled in there, right? No. It's not a guaranteed Legendary at the back of the slot. Most of you are going to open up your case or even your box. You're going to open up your Antiquity Pack, and there's going to be a rare, a majestic, and a puzzle piece.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And you're going to go, okay, I was hosed. I hope there's something good in this box. And then you hope that you're going to get a CNC or a Balance Justice or something, right? But like, that's entirely it. Is like, I think everybody is taking a look at these reprints, and they did not see the other fine print that says there are 27 other cards that are going to be available in this Antiquity Pack, and those cards are also going to be in those same slots. So it's like the card is you're
still gonna be right. But like, if you look at it too, like you look at the Heart of Findel, the Eye, all of those ones that we're seeing printed, there was, what was it, like 20,000 unlimited and 5,000 first edition, something like 25,000 total boxes, I think, for like the first two sets.
I think it was I think it was 250 for WTR, 250,000 for unlimited, and it was like 4,000 to 6,000 or something for first ed. So or like 1,000 maybe or something.
It wasn't very much, and I think WTR I think the only reason why there was 250 is because they blew up at the end of the first year. Like, oh, we need to print more of these. Like, I think their original plan was maybe like 100,000, if even that, quite frankly. And so like, that's really not that many cards out there, like comparatively. That's not that many, because you get a Heart of Fandel, every 40 cases? Was it every 40 boxes?
Pull rates were also atrocious in those sets, right? Like here, I mean, obviously, the Fableds are only available in the Antiquity Pack. So you can't even get them in the physical box. Like, if you just open up a loose pack of pen, you do not get an opportunity to pull a Fabled. You have to buy a box. So on top of that, now you're already spending that kind of money to get that, and it's a chance to get it, right? Which also gets me a little side tangent here. If you are ever going to an event and you are going to be purchasing something from the prize wall, check with them whether or not they're going to be taking this Antiquity Pack out of the box before you purchase a box with your tickets, because that is the thing that has pissed me off far too much, especially with high seas boxes, because that was apparently the thing, is that they would say, okay, yeah, you have enough tickets to purchase a whole box, but I have to take the treasure pack out of the box. And it's like, why would you bother getting an entire box if you're going to lose the one reason that you would purchase a box?
Right, because all the cold foil was in there. It was in those packs. It wasn't in the box itself. You might as well buy Super Slam or something like that.
Exactly.
Anyways, no, and yes, 100%. That is one thing that I think that these buy box promos, they're basically buy a box promo. Most LGSs take them out, unless you're like if you're buying the box, they won't, right? But if you're buying it for like a draft and stuff, they will. Like they hold those. So if you all pitch in to buy a box and then draft out of it, like that's a different story. But if you're all just buying your own 3 packs out of the box, then they pull it. So that's pretty common in LGSs. And then yes, I know, and a lot of times those they pull them. I don't know. I've heard conflicting stories on it's whoever the company's putting on the event, they do it, or LSS tells them to do it. I've heard both stories on whose fault it is. I don't really know who does that. I sure as hell hope it's not LSS, but
I sure hope it isn't either. But that's just one of those things where I'm like, all right, well, at least right? That's just a thing to keep in mind.
I would double check. I think
but
pen will still be worth it, but that is something to keep in mind.
The good news is that out of the legendaries that you can get in the Antiquity Pack, you can get those in the main set. So Balance of Justice, Crown of Providence, all those.
The Antiquity border, right?
Correct. It does not come in the Antiquity border. It just comes in a regular border that it would normally do, and I'm pretty sure it's a non-foil in the main set. So it would be just a non-foil version of Balance of Justice, which we don't have,
Still really
right?
good.
Like, so
It's still really good. I'm actually I love non-foils. Like I like a lot of times for my equipment I want to do foils and things like that. But like at the same time, I like having that option to have, because most of the time non-foils are going to be worth less, for
right.
instance. So if there's enough balances of justice out there that are non-foils and that are cheaper, I think that's great for the market, because when I look at the non-foils, I look at that as this is for the players. You know, same with like I used to play Pokemon pretty heavily, right? Like most of their decks, and people always are like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Their decks are like $100 or less
Yep.
for their top competitive decks. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
like $40 decks,
Yeah.
but you can take those same decks and make them a $10,000
Mm-hmm.
deck because of the way that they print. And I know Brian Gottlieb has actually come on and been like, no, like you can't compare us to Pokemon, because Pokemon, that's its own, like that is a whole
Yep.
separate thing. Like I would say Pokemon, when we talk about the big three, I would actually almost say that it's really a kind of a big two of MTG and Pokemon, because
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely beneath them.
Yeah.
Pokemon is its own thing of for collectors and
Yeah,
and all of
completely
that
different
that
ecosystem. I mean, it's the
that
largest
like
largest IP in the world. Like, it is
yeah.
it is seriously unbeatable when it comes to that. And so having the
Yes, because people just collect the cards because they love that Pokemon.
right, exactly, right, and that the collector aspect of it there is so huge, and that's the kind of collector aspect that we should be seeing also in Fab 2. It's like you're able to collect, if you really enjoy an artist's art
Hmm.
style, collect the art, the cards that they worked on, right? That's always
I
a
know.
thing you can do, and that's always available. You don't have to be like, when a lot of people hear collectors in any TCG, I imagine the first thing they hear is, all right, this person has spent like 10 grand on their card game, easy, like easy,
Hmm.
without a doubt. They've just had a whole bunch in there, and it doesn't have to be like that. It's like, cool, yeah, I collect, I don't know, I collect low budget Pikachu cards because there's a million of them, and I can
Yes,
always
and people
find a new
love them.
Pikachu card. And like every
Yes.
now and again, if I got a raise at work, or if I got a good tax check back, I go purchase a more expensive Pikachu if you really want to do that. It is truly something that I think, when it comes to collecting, it's
Yeah, but I
everywhere.
think yes, and so I think to me this looks more like a move towards that of like we have all these different versions. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
collector, you have this version. If you are just a player, you can get the cheaper version. And so
Mm-hmm.
the more that they like, I really liked it when they was it Outsiders, I think, when they started doing that, where they would do the the full art for the cold foil, and then they
Mm-hmm.
had like a rainbow foil of like the smaller version and all that. But then also I think there was a cold foil of just like the normal version, then they did like the full art on top of that in cold foil, I think, is what they had. It was like they had like three different tiers in there, and um either way, I don't care if it was three or two, but like I
Mm-hmm.
like that aspect of it, of hey, here's a cheaper version. So this to me is just them kind of going one step further and doing a non-foil in there. And I want to see more. Quite frankly, I want to see more of that. I
Mm-hmm.
think it will make the game cheaper and all of that, and it will make it where like, hey, I want to invest more. I want that bling to shine. Like, what's not fun about having a cold foil that you slam down in your equipment slot versus an on-foil, right? So you could
Exactly.
see that, and I like to have that. And so the more that they do these kind of levels in there, the better I think the game is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like people who are throwing fits, I think, are more investors. And quite frankly, I don't think that you want some of those, but right now in Flesh and Blood, I don't think we need to have those. And if they want to invest, sure. You just got to be aware that this is not magic. This
Yeah.
is not going to be something that's going to perpetually go up. If you are a real investor, go invest in the stock market
Yeah.
or your
There are
401k.
better things for you to do.
Why are you investing into this card game? If you're pissed because your, $2,000 Heart of Findel you think is going to go down, why were you not investing that $2,000 into the stock market?
Exactly. It's always going to be volatile. Card games are always going to be volatile because it's not sports cards, right? Sports cards
Yes.
have no other reason besides collecting. There's not like you get to
Yes.
play, this baseball player to this baseball player, and whoever has the better stats wins the tournament or whatever. It's not, there's not there's not a game you play with that. It's
Yeah.
instead just, okay, cool, I'm going to collect really old cards of really popular players, and that's what you're doing for, you know,
Yeah.
for sports cards. But for a game you physically need to have cards in order for you to play, you should not make cards the hardest cards to find, and have those cards be $100 a copy for then only the people who are able to have those specific, you know, like Command and Conquer was for $100 for such a long time, like a long time. And now looking at it, it's,
and you had to have 3 of them.
Yeah, it's like $60 now, which is huge, and it'll be less.
Which to me is still a lot for what it is.
But it is still
affordable,
cheaper, right? And there is a better rarity version of the card in like Dynasty, right? You have the fabled version of the card. You have the extended art version of both in the Antiquity pack and also in the Hunted. You have for versions of those. You have the Command and Conquer with Kasai on it. Because that's a very rare card.
That's the hardest one to get.
That's the hardest one to get. And so it really comes down to, what are you really wanting to collect, right? Like, I would love to get my hands on a Kasai Command and Conquer. Do I want to spend like, I don't know,
like 2,000 or
like 1.5 grand or something? Like, I don't know how the hell, like
I think it might be more like 5,000. I don't know, because there's only like 55 of them.
Yeah. It's insane. I don't know why they're so. I mean, well, I know why they're so hard to find, but like, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is that like, there is always going to be that card that is like the collector piece, and I think that if you're collecting to collect, that's what it's about. But if you're trying to invest into something like a card game, you should be doing better things with your money, because it's just not.
You should be assessing your life choices at that point.
If you're investing into a card game, you've already invested very heavily into the stock market, and you are good for the rest of your life. And this is just a side project. If that's what you're doing, chill, right? That's awesome. But not if you're like, you just got a big boy job for the first time,
Yeah, I think what happens is, people see Rudy and they're like, I need to invest. Rudy has so many things that he's invested in.
Yeah.
Card game just happens to be his most popular thing that he's invested in.
Exactly.
That's definitely, I would say, like, that's not what that probably doesn't make him the most money. Like, he does it because it's fun, and he likes the YouTube, and he likes the praise and whatever. I enjoy Rudy here, and I know a lot of people hate him, but I'm like, I enjoy Rudy. I think his videos are fine. They're interesting, but like, that is not what got him into it. This just happened to be a hobby of his, where he's like, hey, I like doing this. I'm gonna do this, and he was already making buco money. Doing his main thing. He started out as a broker. He started out as a broker and stuff, and this was just sort of a thing that he was like, hey, I want to do this because I think Magic is cool and I love Magic, and so he started doing it. But like, I wouldn't doubt if that was like 5% of his portfolio of doing all this. Like, that's how like busy he is. I mean, you watch his videos, he's doing Legos now, he's doing artworks. Like, you see his videos with like his art gallery and stuff like that. Like, this man is doing all these crazy things. I'm sure some of those paintings in the art gallery are millions of dollars that he has. He's not making millions of dollars off of cards, like, profit wise.
And that's something he even talks about too. I mean, he talks about every time he makes one of those little whiteboard videos, every time he's just like, here's what you don't do with your life. Invest in Magic the Gathering. Don't do that. Don't invest in card games at all until you have literally no debt. You have a retirement plan. All of your money is set aside. You've got, your Roth IRAs and all that jazz. But like, that's he even specifically says it, because like, why would you do something like that when you have nothing already? Like if I bought Command and Conquers at $100 a piece and they went down, I shouldn't be like, oh, I have it's an absolute travesty. I need to, I need to sell everything and sell this game. My cards are never going to be worth any money. I bought the Command and Conquers to play with them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to play with the dang cards. I didn't do that because I was like, oh, okay, well, I need to buy Command and Conquer so that it can sit in my binder and I can never play it. And then the card's going to 10x in price, and I'm never,
And I can, no, it's when people talk about that and it like obliterating it, like I know Rudy when he saw it, like he was pissed too, but like at the end of the day, Rudy can be pissed, but like he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's decimating him
Exactly.
out of
It's
money.
not ruining
Like
him of all that he has. Like
no,
he's good in other
he can
forms.
be yeah, he can be pissed about it and feel like he was betrayed, but like he also like doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like I heard he was pissed. I didn't, I saw him briefly at Worlds.
Uh-huh.
He would like take a picture or whatever with some people in front of,
Yeah.
because he owns the grading company, PCG.
Mm-hmm.
So he's at the PCG booth a little bit, but like at the end of the day, like, his reactions to that stuff, like especially if he makes a video of it, it's more of him just trying to get views and all of that. Like I, I find it very difficult to hear him like when he pretends to be pissed and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'm like, I really don't think he's pissed. Like I think he's just doing this as his like moniker or whatever, and he just likes to get views and do
Mm-hmm.
all that. And maybe he is pissed, but like he knows at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect him.
Right.
Like it's not going to ruin him
Uh-huh.
because they're reprinting these. But like when we see people reacting to it, it's like, yeah, it might ruin those people because they were bad with their investments.
Yeah.
And if you're bad with your investments, like that is an investor. Like we look at, people, who are grabbing Pokemon and then dumping it and all of that, and we watch, all these quote unquote, scalpers and
Mm-hmm.
investors doing that. I'm just like, Pokemon's starting to go back down and people are starting to sell out of what they had and everything. And it's just once again, that get rich scheme that we
Yeah.
see over and over. It just happens to be in card games. We've said, and you say this over and over again, if you can't afford to buy a set, don't buy the set.
Yep. Do not do it.
Like, just
Do
don't do
not
it.
do it. Just do not do
Like,
it.
you
It
and
is
I,
not worth it.
you and I had conversations on Pen where I'm like, I don't think I can buy the set until March, maybe.
Yep.
Like, until I get my bonus. Like right now, it's like we're paying our bills, we're getting it, and I have a lot, kind of up in there, and so like I don't think I can afford it. And even then, it's like, hey, we're gonna look at it. I'm gonna look at where everything's going. Are we saving enough? Are we paying off our, paying down,
Mm-hmm.
debts that we have? Like our goal is to become debt free in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Even before then. But we got more, well, our mortgage not so much, but student loans, things like that. Like, and so when I look at it, I go, okay, $200. Say I spent $200. Is that worth buying those, or is that worth going towards student loans? Right? Like
Right.
you look at that and be like, well, what it's worth going towards student loans probably.
You
Like
do
every time
not.
I'm looking at stuff like that, that is what I'm thinking
Right.
about when I'm looking at, do I buy this or does this go somewhere else?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I would love to be all student loans paid off and all of stuff that we have, because quite frankly, come in a few years, all of that is, I will have more money to be able to spend on fun, frivolous things like this, because that stuff is paid down and it's not going out of my account every month.
And by the time that happens, you'll have affordable versions of cards that you wanted to purchase, right? Like that is kind of the other concept, is that you're obviously a lot of our focus is on Silver Age. So we already have the cards to spend, we've got the decks. We're very easily just able to like set those together, and we can play the game that we like without needing to break the bank. And then when we are financially ready to step into, Classic Constructed in whatever version we want to, you don't have to worry about buying the $340 Eye of Ophidia. You can buy whatever the hell the price of this non-foil one is going to be. Like it's probably not going to be too much off, but it's still going to be far more affordable than the other version. And so that's the important part, is that it's not a race. You don't need to get everything immediately right then and there. Like, if you are starting Flesh and Blood and you've never played a TCG before or anything, and you're just like, wow, I don't know that I want to spend all that money, do not spend that money. Nobody's telling you have to spend that money. Just literally buy an armory deck and never upgrade it. And like, get familiar with the hero. You'll have a bunch of locals that are willing to sell you a bunch of these really cheap Majestics. They'll probably just give them to you. And you can just get in, you start leveling up your deck a little bit. And if eventually you're like, okay, I've got enough, my bills are all paid, everything is good, I got, some birthday money from grandparents or something, and now I have $100 I can drop on a Tunic. And it's like, okay, like that's awesome, right? You're in a good spot now if that's what you want to do. Obviously, if everything else is taken care of already and that's where you want your money to go, that's awesome. But don't be out
don't
here
be
trying to
doing.
be like, okay, I got to get every copy of everything because if I don't,
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I love this game so much, so I bought everything, and now I'm seeing prices go down, and now I'm like, oh well, I bought into everything. LSS doesn't love me now because they're reprinting the cards that I have in here. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, stop. Like, do better.
Because
Do
at the
better.
end of the day, LSS needs to be printing, because this is a forever format. Everything's going to get reprinted.
Uh huh.
It's going to get reprinted. Everything's going to get reprinted as long as it's meta and stuff like that. We're going to see reprints. We're going to see all that. It is going
Mm-hmm.
to go down depending on what's popular and this or that.
Yep.
They put a lot of the Earth cards into Super Slam
Yep.
when they're reprints. And some people were kind of pissed about that because they're like, "Well, I bought all these at $90 a pop." It's like, well, you didn't have to.
Right. It's like at that point, it's so much easier for you to just be like, you never know what's going to get reprinted, right? So obviously you take a risk when you buy it at a very popular price, right? But that's card games, right? It's not
Yep.
not something like, it's the rainbow foil versions of the cards are still going for more than their non-foil variants. There are rare versions of those cards that are even rarer than just a regular rainbow foil. Like there's a misprint foiling on Belgium print Majestics and Rares in Rosetta that is really hard to get your hands on. If you really wanted to, there are cold foil versions of Felling of the Crown that exist as content creator packages. Those are like $750 some a piece or some nonsense. Like those are, if you are trying to do some stuff with your collection and be like, that's what I need to get, and you have the money to spend, which most people do not, then of course that's available to you, right? That would be the collector's piece to go after. But if you're just trying to play Flesh and Blood and you need 3 copies of a card and that card's $5, I call it a win. It's fine. Like I don't think Command and Conquer will ever be $5, but I do think it could get to a point of like maybe 30, like $40 maybe, which is still expensive for most people, but it's significantly less compared to where it was a year ago. So
and I think that's fine. I don't think anybody would be pissed about that. That's why I say that, but there would be.
There will be.
But,
there will be people who are mad, but those people care about the money they put into Flesh and Blood. And it's more about the money they put into Flesh and Blood than the time they put into Flesh and Blood, right? And so those people are expecting that in 10 years, they're going to take their whole collection and they're going to go, cool, I'm going to give all of this, I'm going to sell it to my locals, I'm going to make, 10x the profit of whatever I put into the card game at the time. And then when they receive half of that because of the reprints and other cards going down, like they're going to be like, oh no, my collection. But if your collection is 10 cold foil Heart of Findals, you're probably getting a decent amount of your money back and then some, because they're very rare cards and you have 10 of them. So it's like that's where that goes.
Like, what were you smart in what you invested? And I think a lot of it too is like, people who are pissed about that's like, oh, you had the rainbow foil stuff because you can afford the cold foil, but then really are you an investor?
Right.
At that
exactly.
point. No, you're not. You're a player, and if you're doing it for investment purposes, like I collect cold foil common equipment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect to make any money off of that. Granted, it's all dirt cheap. And I bought it dirt cheap most of the time. And this is a different scenario altogether. But like when I buy a piece like that, when I'm buying equipment because of that, it's like I'm either buying the player one, or if I really wanted to go nuts, then like, sure, go buy that cold foil tunic for 10K. Go buy that full art one that there's only a handful out that people won from their different tournaments in the first year. Like if you are really an investment, and if you can't afford that, you probably need to be reassessing why you're putting money into this game as an investor.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know that there really needs to be much said beyond that of like, put your money where if you're actually investing, put it in other things. Like, or your 401k, things that you can use for your retirement, because quite frankly, most of us in our 20s and 30s don't think about that, and you need to start thinking about that and put it there, not in a card game. Start throwing your wealth elsewhere. Because if you're doing it in the card game, like you're gonna get burned.
Yep.
There's
Absolutely.
nothing more volatile than cards. Like
Yep.
the stock market can be volatile. Cards are way more volatile. If you're
Yeah.
doing it because you hear the stock market's volatile, well, you got a new thing coming for
Yeah.
you,
You
buddy.
have no
So
idea
with
about the
crypto,
stuff you're
like
about to
it's
experience here. This is crazy. So, but with that, effectively, we'll go ahead and we'll end the episode here, having a nice little discussion about that. Just remember, it's about making smart decisions. At the end of the day, we all know that the flesh and blood market in general is for players. It is doing player things. It has been doing that since Uprising. It's been doing that even a
Mhm.
little bit beforehand. And so players have always driven the market. When a hero LLs in CC, those cards go down in price. Not because they're bad cards, but because the hero is no longer playable in the premier format. And so that's why we see cards go down. That's where the players will always direct the market. So if you're
Yeah, and
upset about,
that's where if you're an investor, that's where you really should put your time and money in.
yes,
Is like, hey, here's this legendary for under $20. Let me
uh-huh,
buy it. Maybe it will be useful in the future.
yes,
Those are better things that you can be doing if you want to be able to be a cheap investor, is doing stuff like that. Because especially like you look at some popular things, like the ice helmet. Why am I forgetting the name? The ice crown. Um, the Icelander used.
right. Cornet Peak, I
Uh,
think.
Cornet Peak,
Yeah,
yeah. So Cornet Peak, right? Oh, when Icelander had it, it was over $100.
right,
When she LL'd, it dropped. It was under 20. I almost bought it several times, and I didn't. Oyara got announced, it spiked up to 100. Does he use it anymore? No, it's down to about 20 or so. But like, there's things in the market you can play if you really wanted to be an investor. The thing is you got to be engaged with the game to do that. If you want to make a quick buck, and once again, I would say your money is better spent in the stock market or in your 401k or your IRA or whatever. Your money is better spent there. But if you really want to play that game, that's how you play it, not by being pissed off because they reprinted your Heart of Fandel.
right, exactly. There's just better things you can do with it, and I mean, I just think reprints are always a good thing for the game, any
Reprints are
game.
fantastic. I'm a huge fan of reprints. I've loved even just like their common or rare reprints that they do
Yep,
in the game. Yeah, we've gotten Scarf for Scar 5 different times, but it's like, why print a new version of that if that's gonna fit the bill? We
right,
are in an infinite. Everything's in there, everything's in it until it gets banned. Um, I love the fact that we're seeing a lot of these reprints, from commons and rares because it fits the bill of that set to our legendaries getting reprints in there. I think I think they've been doing a great job in reprints overall.
right. Yeah,
They haven't, and quite frankly, they haven't been reprinting into the ground like Magic. That's why I'm like really get pissed off about this. And most of them are Magic players. Like they have reprinted the crap out of your cards in Magic, and maybe that's why they're pissed about it because they're tired of that. But like, it's not even
it's also
close to
not
that.
into the
And
ground though. Like that's the thing, is that it's not you're not getting a tunic in every box.
yeah,
Like it's not happening. It will not be happening. You will not be getting those kind of pull rates. So
yeah,
literally that's it. It's just that's the important part. So everybody just thinks
yeah,
like they see the reprints and they're just like that's it, right? Like that's all we're going to be getting is just you're going to open up every single box and you're going to open up that antiquities pack, boom, Heart of Find All, and everybody's going to get 20 Heart of Find Alls and just going to slam them all in the market. Heart of Find All is going to be a $20 card and everything is just going to go to absolutely nothing. And I'm like, dude, these cards are still going to be so hard to find.
so rare.
Like you're not going to be able to get them. It's going to be just like High Seas all over again, where everyone's like, oh, gold for all these cool treasure pack things, and oh, the James White signed Marvels, blah blah blah. Like, oh my god, it's going to be the
And
coolest thing.
I don't even know that we found a lot of those yet.
No, there's been
Like,
like
there's
I
only
don't
a
know,
handful
like
that people
there's been
posted.
like 8 treasures I think in total that have been found. So
And like Dust Till Dawn, we don't even know if all of those were found. There's only, I think, last time I checked, when people stopped kind of tracking, I think there's only like 5 or so of each hero, and there's 20
right,
total. 10 here, 10 over there, um, and we found like 5 each total. That's like those might still be out there, because people don't announce if they got it or not either. So, like, yeah, I think it's going to be fine. We'll be fine. But I know we got to get on out of here. Um, what any any last things you want to cover?
Not anything insane. I'd say just know that we have I've finished all of my recordings for the Silver Age A to Z series. So those should all be getting posted hopefully sometime soon here. They'll be done before the end of the month, so we'll have those all out. You'll be able to check out every hero. And then once we see more about Pen, we'll be doing some stuff in regards to checking out Pen. And then of course we have any updated things. We'll obviously be talking, or at least I'll be talking a little bit more in regards to like the meta, more competitive stuff in regards to Pen, what you should be playing, maybe what you're not playing, and maybe what you should think about be playing if you're like trying to find some spice with a hero. That's really fun. That's always the fun part. But I think that really it's just Pen waiting room for this point. I'm really just like,
yep,
waiting
I do
for it all
want to
there.
kind of talking about Pen Rating Room. We talked about how on February 3rd, we're each going to pick our top 10 cards.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about those. And we are going to make it live for everybody. So in 2 weeks, you get to try out what it's like to be a channel member every week. So as we talk about our top 10. And then really you should probably just become a channel member after that, so you can do that every week.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it'll be a good time. I think it'll be I'm happy that we're going to be able to do like just a live stream to everybody. And I mean, again, I'll yap about Fab for hours on end. So that I still have to do something. That's the other thing I've been planning is I've been trying to figure out my 3K subscriber special, because now we've actually just passed 3,100 subscribers. So we're already like shooting it up there. So I'm just like, so yeah, it is just like, it is just specifically, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do yet. So I'm thinking I might do a live, like a 12-hour live stream or something. Maybe just like talk a bunch or play Silver Age for a long while, play with the community, hang out.
I could probably jump on for like an hour or so there with you. We could try some games.
It'll be a fun thing to do over a weekend or something, but I have nothing planned right now. So we'll see.
Get to planning and then let me know, because I'll jump in for a little bit of time. But yeah, I don't really have anything to cover. I'm still working on my meat axes. They've been kind of on the back burner because I've been so busy. But they're going to be up there. I am going to do I've been getting ideas for more content, and the 01 messaged me. He's a weekly listener of ours. Was asking for some links on like 3D cards, because I talked about that last time. I'm going to probably, my website actually has like what tools I use. I'm going to try to make a whole page of like, here's the tools I use, here's some resources that I've found super helpful, so I could just be like, hey guys, you want to have that stuff, here it is. You can see what I use and what we're doing, and all the little tutorials I've found helpful. I am working on getting a video together for the meat axe itself, because I did a second cut of it. I was actually thinking I'll probably do a little bit of like showing the layers a little bit better, so you can make your own meat axe at home if you want to, so you know what cuts I did and where they went together. So I have most of that made, but I did do kind of additions in my second one, so I was gonna just do a quick edit of that and put that in there, so you can do your own meat axe at home if you want to.
There you go. Fun little things. So look forward to that. That'll be, and you're gonna just make sure everything's kind of over on the Bold Brew Discord. Or are you just going to do it on your channel, or?
Both.
Both.
I always post anything in there. I'll probably ping you too and be like, hey, or put it in Asherwing's Discord.
Yeah, check it in my Discord too. As well. So we'll get everybody through there. So cool. All right. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you if you're a channel member, you joined us live. Thank you so much for being here. And then of course, if you're watching the the VOD, the recorded episode, thank you for continuing to support the channel. If you did enjoy today's episode, make sure to go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, that whole thing. And then also, of course, let me know in the comments down below how you kind of feel. I know a lot of people have already left a lot of comments on the previous video we talked about, or I talked specifically about this topic, but we'd love to, of course, still have good discussion in the comments down below. So I'm always down to chit chat with everybody, and it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you disagree with us, you're wrong. No, I'm kidding.
Nate, now remember that Nathan said that, not me. Nathan said that. Just remember.
No, I love good, constructive conversations about that. Like, if you disagree with us, like, I'd love to hear your reasoning.
Exactly.
Why and back it up with like, hey, this is why I think investors like that are good for the game. Like, I'd love to hear that just from my experience. It has been as effective, but I'm probably wrong. I don't do this as a business.
Right, exactly. We are just players in this wonderful world, and so we wake up every day and we just do what we like. But yeah, that's it. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you all in the next episode of the Common Language Podcast. Bye, everybody.